right. So welcome to the show, and today, welcome. You're listening to 89.5 KOPN, and today we have with us Mr. Raz Wickham, and we want to know: is your mic working?
Hopefully it is.
Can you hear yourself? You're good.
Yes.
Okay. You're okay. Cool. So, who is Raz Wickham? He is a singer, songwriter, and author, and he's a local man, local person, guy from where you from, Roz?
Grew up in mid-Missouri. I've lived in other places around the world when I was younger, but now I'm here in Jefferson City, Missouri.
Okay, and this man has. I'm holding one of two books in my hand right now that he has. He's creating a multimedia, I don't know, empire or something to that effect. Good for him. And I'm holding a book. It is called The Edge of Beyond, Rise of the Fallen. And not only has this man, as Raz, authored two, not one, but two novels, but also has composed his own music, CD, to go along with his vision. And we're going to ask Raz what is his vision, which about the book and his music, not only in composer, musical composer, and also an author, and some other things that we're going to find out, other titles. So I want to just, we're going to play some of his music as well. He's going to explain some of his music. So I'm going to read, well, why don't we just go ahead, Roz, what is The Edge of Beyond? What is The Edge of Beyond?
The Edge of Beyond was originally concepted in 1997 to be a sci-fi fantasy multimedia franchise. By 2003, I had started the whole band thing and did that for about 10 years on stage, and basically just trying to create my own franchise on the scale of something like Star Wars, and have gone back and forth between music and the literary sense. Last year, the first book was published. We just published the second book this past October, and the first week of January 2017, I started the process for the third book, which will be released next fall. So basically, what me and my team do at every convention, we try to make the whole interactive experience with our booth so that we can bring people into our creative world while trying to build a fan base so that hopefully you can see The Edge of Beyond on the big screen.
So that was I think you said all that in 10 seconds, but we'll expand on all of that. So it's a fantasy world?
It's a sci-fi fantasy.
Sci-fi fantasy world that you've created, and you're not manifesting it, but making it from your mind into the three-dimensional reality with these books and with the music. So you're saying multimedia. What does that mean?
Basically, we're trying to create something that's tangible so that, you can imagine movies, video games, graphic novels, music, you name it. We want to be able to do it. That way people can truly immerse themselves into the world that was first concepted back in 97.
Oh, this started in 97 for you?
Yep.
What did you have, a dream in 97? What did you see something on TV?
I imagine all artists have dreams, but growing up with the things that we had back in the 80s and early 90s, I was very inspired by things such as Star Wars and everything that Disney had done, and I thought, you know what, I'm a fan of many things, but I wanted to create my own project just so that I could have something to share with the world and inspire others to create their own thing.
So you saw what other people were doing. You were what were some of the shows that you were a fan of at that time, '97? Were you taking a walk, and you said, The Edge of Beyond? All of a sudden, it hit you, or was it a slow creation process? The Edge of Beyond.
It was a slow creation process because I had even started developing some of the technology aspects back in '91 after seeing Terminator 2: Judgment Day. But it was in '97, it was actually on my birthday, October 24th that year, that I finally sat down and decided, okay, this is the name, this is going to be the premise of the story, and then I just built it from there. And I've been at this 19 plus years, and next year we celebrate the 20th anniversary of this project.
Can I ask how old you were in '97, or
I was
about when did it hit
I
you?
would have just turned 13.
Wow, man, I didn't realize that. So you're looking at science fiction, fantasy stuff, and I want to do my own science fiction, fantasy stuff. And you said at 13 you had the technology. You were thinking about the technology of it.
Yep.
So, what does that mean, technology?
Basically, just some of the armaments and things like that behind the story.
So what is this? So people don't know what you mean. How does the armor? Why is there armaments in your story? What's this?
Well, for instance, when you're telling stories that involve war and things like that, you've got to have a technology behind, how their armor works and things like that. That way, you're not just creating a story full of fluff. You've got some plausible science behind it.
So you're doodling. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to explain the Edge of Beyond. I'm still trying to. I have not read the book. How many pages? Okay, I'm flipping through the first novel. I'm looking at 471 pages, plus
The whole interior is 500 pages, but that includes the front and back matter.
How much is a normal size novel for a science fiction fantasy?
I think at most they cap around 400.
I think that's a lot of words. 400, 500 pages. I'm not an author. I've written some poetry. So some minor stories in school and stuff.
That counts as authorship.
So some couple stories, a couple pages long, but I have I mean, I'm into comic books and they do some author, but to write a novel, a 500-page novel, I have no idea. I guess you lock yourself away somewhere. So, but before we go into that, the Edge of Beyond, why do they need, what is the, okay, I'm going to read the back of this book. Is that okay?
Go for it.
This is the back of I'm holding the physical book. In the front it says, "Paradise is a dream worth fighting for, the Edge of Beyond, Rise of the Fallen." And then the back of the book, the least among us are the most important. A planet evolved, a societal order on the brink of civil war, and a reluctant hero that disrupts Earth's balance of power. In a future where society has evolved, humans are enslaved under the reign of two supreme races to mine the world's crystals. A young warrior named Victor sets out on a quest to escape his captivity, whilst being thrust into a fight for survival and acceptance. By uniting with Earth's champions, together they will face a universal threat that shadows his freedom. The official novelization of the first chapter in Raz Wickham's epic, The Edge of Beyond trilogy. So it's about, from what I read in the back, the future society has evolved, humans enslaved under the reign of two supreme races. I guess the crystals are involved. This is a world of crystals. A young warrior named Victor sits on a quest to escape his captivity. I guess so. He's a slave of something, also being thrust into a fight for survival and acceptance. Uniting Earth's champions, so there's other champions. Together, they're gonna face a universal threat that shadows his freedom and I guess other people's freedom.
Right.
So, what are the characters? Who are like? What are the main? Without giving the book away? What are the?
Well, basically, it's set in a futuristic Earth. Earth has evolved and given birth to crystallization, and as such, they've used that technology to rebuild society. And the humans that did not evolve during the Great Cataclysm in the solar system, they became enslaved. So fast forward to where this story begins, and you've got a character named Victor who ends up being half human, half angel. So they bring him on board to try to help take on that universal threat.
So there were in this world what's the name of the world that?
It's future Earth.
Oh, it's future Earth.
Yes.
Okay, and So it went through some cataclysms.
Yep.
And then how are the crystals involved with this future?
From the Earth's core and from the plasma of the dwarf sun from what is known as the Planet X system that comes into our system.
So Planet X, I think I've heard a little bit. Is there some parallels with real stuff that's going on?
Oh yeah, there are many parallels because, like I said, this isn't meant to be a story full of fluff. There are pretty much any moment in here where there's any science, there's some plausibility to back it up.
Okay, so that's what you were thinking when you were 13, starting to think the technology, so the science, so these guys that are fighting for the freedom of Earth, so to speak.
Right.
They've got their technology and they wear armor.
Yes.
And they had in Columbia here, they had a comic book convention, and Raz he's got a pretty detailed setup. I don't know, setup's probably the wrong word. What's it called?
Basically just a booth.
A booth.
But we call it an interactive booth.
Please fully explain how is it interactive?
Well, basically, growing up, seeing how other authors would sit at a small table with just a small stack of books, I decided that since obviously it takes a team to get someone like me where I need to be even just visually, I wanted to showcase my team members like a band. So I made the booth bigger with every event, and we have a customized director's chair behind the tables that anyone who gets a book from us signed, they get the opportunity to have a picture taken with us. So we treat it as an interactive event so that we're bringing them into our world, so that way it's not impersonal, it's more of a trade-off where, hey, we're willing to bring you into our world just as a thanks for trying to support us at every event that we do. And no one in the world is doing that sort of thing when it comes to authorship, and that's why we're coining it as the world's first interactive book signing event.
You've got a lot more going on than what you just said at your booth, so can you please explain what else you have at your booth?
We've got banners, we've got lights, we've got banners on display, we've also got 2 plasma balls, which surprisingly enough grab attention for both adults and kids. And as far as merchandise, we sell t-shirts, metal bookmarks, art prints. We try to basically convey the idea that this is meant to be a big franchise, like something on the scale of Star Wars, and the only way to do that is to present the visualization the way that we have been doing. And what you saw at DodecaCon last September, that was our biggest setup yet, taking up 25 feet wide.
That's right, it was called DodecaCon.
Yeah.
And then you had a presentation.
Yes, we do a panel at every convention that we can.
And the Edge of Beyond, Raz has a team. He's gotten a team of people to I'm trying to figure out, he's got a team of people that believe in what you're doing, because as far as I know, they're volunteer. And so we've actually got a photographer in here at this a member of his team, and she is doing a good job, and she's documenting everything that what TEOB is. What is TEOB?
In general, or
no, this is an acronym.
Oh.
It's just
the acronym for the Edge of Beyond.
so they use the word. You guys use the word TEOB.
Yeah, it's just the nickname.
So she's a member of
Team
TEOB.
TEOB.
Team TEOB. Okay, that's great. And so he's got his own team of people that believe in. He's got a scientist. You have a scientist, Can you just talk a little bit about what he? This guy's a real.
Yeah, and he holds at least 2 PhDs. When I was developing the scientific concepts for this story back even in '97 and earlier, obviously I'm not a scientist, so I was making things up as I was going while doing research for several years. Well, then I met him 2.5 years ago, and he came on board to basically just be the official science advisor. That way he could help me bring my scientific concepts into real-world plausibility. That way it was something that could compete with, the most intellectual literary things out there. And that way when you read it, you're not just getting a bunch of fluff that's just made up to sound pretty. It's actually based in real science. And even though the visuals look pretty outstanding, even for sci-fi fantasy, it's all based in real-world science.
So let's go back to the armor that these guys wear. Is it so Raz and his team have a scientist that can explain to you when he does his presentation of the science of the armor of the characters that are in this world, in this book. And so at the presentation, his science team member was explaining the science behind the armor. Which, can you explain some of that, what the armor is?
Basically, for anyone who has seen how our characters look, they will notice that they wear an undersuit that's got a hexagonal pattern. Basically, that is a liquid metal nanotech that is very skin tight, but it protects them from, any and all attacks. But on top of that, they use crystal powered gauntlets, and from there, it, in conjunction with the nervous system, allows a liquid crystalline to go over the entire body, and it can shapeshift whenever needed, but it can also harden on impact. And because it's hooked up neurologically, it's very interactive, if not just simply reactive. So you're getting basically a biosuit that has never been done before in any franchise, and that's one of the things that we're pushing for this is new concepts that not only for the sake of pushing this project, but to inspire others to create things the way they have over the years in the world of science.
Now this is just part one. This is just the armor aspect of what's in the novel, which Raz is not meticulously, I guess, just really specifically thought out. And so again, to see a professional scientist explain your armor or part of the world, the material world of the Edge of Beyond is something I haven't seen in other conventions, and it kind of
it was almost a twist of fate when I met him, because some of my concepts I wasn't too sure how scientific they actually were until he explained it, and he was even shocked because he thought, how could you have come up with this when you were in junior high, for crying out loud? But it turns out everything that I had has an actual science behind it, and he helped me to kind of realize that.
Now, I gotta say this. I don't see. You're not a big. I guess I don't see any crystals around your neck like you're. Like
not yet, maybe someday.
Because your world's full. I just thought of that. Your world's has crystals, but there's no huge, big rock hanging off a necklace like I've seen some people do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually knew a woman who was into rocks and crystals, and rocks have certain vibrations and energy things. And anyway, there's a whole other thing about rocks and stones and gems and all that stuff. And you're notice the color. There's a lot of colors in the cover of your book. There's a lot of colors. Why so colorful?
Basically, we wanted to showcase that when Earth evolved in the story, that it had purified everything. And with crystallization, you will have many different color schemes, but also the personalities of the characters and the armor in which they wear represents, their personality based on that color scheme. And we also wanted something that wasn't dull looking, but when you see it, it immediately draws your attention. And even with every book cover, our aim is to make it look like an epic movie poster, so that if you see this on the bookshelf, say at Barnes & Noble, you think, wow, I don't know anything about this book, but it looks interesting. And then after reading it, then you take another glance at the exterior and you think to yourself, okay, this could definitely be on the big screen someday.
And yeah, so that's cool. And I'm thinking about playing a song.
Yeah, we can do that.
So he's a composer, not just an author, and we're going to listen to a couple of the songs, and we'll listen. So he brought in his CD of a 9-track album he has. So which track do you want to play first?
Let's go with track 6, which is Lords of Chaos.
Okay, this song is called what?
Lords of Chaos.
And it's track 6?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if our CD player is cooperating. So track 6, and okay, let's see if it's